These products all have one thing in common. They're all labeled flushable. Some are even touting advanced flushable technology. There's a lot you can physically flush down a toilet. But despite what product labels say, that doesn't mean you should.
More clogged pipes than usual.
Trouble in our sewer systems.
Too much of anything that isn't toilet paper can grind our city's sewage plants to a halt. Overall, the United States spends at least $1 billion annually to manage the problem. So what's going on here? Why are we all being actively told to do a thing that's causing so many problems? And what toll is all this flushing really taking on our cities?
Oh, these are nasty! This is the worst.
So what makes something flushable? There are a few criteria. It should be able to make it through a toilet's plumbing without having to pull out a plunger, for one. It also has to dissolve entirely in water before it hits the screens and propellers that pull gunk out of the wastewater at a sewage plant. Otherwise, it could gum up the works. There are a handful of standards and tests used to decide if something is flushable. One of them is called a slosh box, a box full of water that gets agitated. Put a product in and see how long it takes for it to dissolve. So we don't have a slosh box, but we have these glass jars full of water, which an expert said can be a decent proxy for seeing how well different things dissolve. So we added a variety of products that said that they were flushable, shook them around and left them for about an hour. So let's see how everything did. Maybe we should start with toilet paper. So this, is just dissolved mush. Next we have the wipes. Yeah, pulling out pretty big chunks here that I could very easily imagine getting caught on something. Next, let's do the seat covers. Kind of clumps up in a way that the toilet paper did not. Then we have these cleaning pads, definitely not broken down. And then we have the cat litter. It's definitely sludge. It looks like a pile of sand left. So I don't really know what to make of this. There have been bigger and more precise studies. One research team out of Canada built a working model of a toilet in a lab to test the flushability of different products, including 23 types of wipes labeled flushable. Only 2 of those wipes even partially disintegrated. None broke down all the way, meaning that if they made it through the toilet without getting snagged, they'd still end up floating around a sewage plant at the other end of the line. So how do these wipes keep getting labeled flushable if they don't pass these tests? It has to do with which standards the companies are basing those claims on. In most cases, flushable labels are based on standards created by groups that have close ties to industries that make flushable products. Not the most objective setup. So these industry groups will call a product flushable if it's 60% dissolved after 1 hour in a slosh box rotating 26 times per minute. A pretty low bar to clear.
But sewage plants say products that hit that bar will still get stuck, and they've got the waste to prove it.
Yeah, this is all wipes. It's like, I would say it's 80% wipes. If I pick up a wipe here that's 60% degraded, it's still here. It's still not flushable.
Pam Olardo is a deputy commissioner at New York City's Department of Environmental Protection. She runs all the facilities that manage the city's sewage, including this one on Randall's Island.
There's actually a flushability test that we use as sewer utilities. It's a standard test across our industry. It mimics the flow of the treatment plants and the collection systems where there's lots of turbulence.
Pam's talking about a standard created by the International Water Services Flushability Group, which is made up of utilities groups, water associations, and other professionals. They have a different bar for the slosh box test. For their standard, products have to dissolve 95% of the way after half an hour at 18 rotations per minute, a much higher bar than the 60% industry benchmark. In other words, sewage facilities say that much more of the material has to dissolve in a shorter period of time in order for the product to play nicely with their machinery. Any product that's not toilet paper can cause havoc in the city's systems.
They tend to glom onto each other, so you get really hard, concrete-like structures of wipes that even can impact our ability to mix. They wrap themselves around the motors, the impellers, the shafts. They break stuff.
And it's been getting worse over the past few decades.
We did a study on just what's caught in our screens, which is not really most of what gets through, plotted that against the wipes industry sales, and it's completely parallel. Like, it was manageable, it shot up, and then since COVID, there was a big uptick at the plant here and other places around the city. So the consequence is I'm spending a lot of staff time unplugging, cleaning, getting into pumps that are clogged to get them to flow because of the wipe problem. It's not a sustainable approach right now. We're struggling.
It costs roughly $20 million a year to manage the problem in New York City, and that's probably an underestimate. All of that mass of wipes and other flush stuff gets fished out and then carted off to the same landfill it would have gone to if people had just thrown it away in the first place. But there are a few ways wastewater utilities are trying to fight back. Mikhail Adgate is the Senior Advisor for Strategic Planning at New York City's Department of Environmental Protection.
So back in 2019, we launched a massive public awareness campaign called Trash It, Don't Flush It, where we wanted to really get that terminology in people's heads that said, when it comes to menstrual products, when it comes to wipes, when it comes to condoms and other things that people think can clear the toilet, don't flush them, trash them.
The department isn't just working on public awareness campaigns. They're working with the City Council on legislation that would require companies to meet the higher utility industry standards in order to mark their products as flushable.
Our goal is for manufacturers to actually comply with that standard so that we can definitively say if your product complies with this standard, then it's flushable in the city of New York.
Clogged sewers are a worldwide, everywhere problem, and it takes wastewater plants away from focusing on the core of their jobs.
Access to clean water and access to basic sanitation is still a global problem. And so when there's products on the market that gum up and break existing sanitation measures, then that further compounds the problem, whereas we should be working together to ensure that everyone has access to clean drinking water and to basic sanitation services.
It may be possible to make a wipe or toilet cleaner or other product that is truly flushable, but for now, none of them are. So, for the sake of your friendly neighborhood wastewater plant managers, make sure toilet paper is the only thing you flush.
Oh my God, look at this one. It's so built up. People who flush their wipes, do you want to come pick up your wipes from here, please? And I'm a sewer person. I think this is disgusting.